what did I decide to talk about? Top marks to anyone who said Chris will go back and play about 20 plus hours of the original Earth Defence Force.
Yep.
By way of a...
That's on my bingo card.
Yeah, by way of a little taste of 2018's EDF 5. I did play that as well. But then that just made me want to go back and try really hard to finish my save in Monster Attack, which was the very first entry on the PS2.
Oh, yeah.
The newer entry first. EDF 5 represents the start of the most recent Earth Defence reboot timeline. I hadn't realised it was this complicated, but I looked into it for this. Last year's EDF 6 is a direct continuation of the story of 5. They've never bothered with that before. It's the first one that has an ongoing story between two games. The story is still aliens invade, humans attempt to hold back the assault using a cache of heavy weaponry. That's it. But doing a little digging, I'd never realised that, one, those two games were connected, and two, that the series to date has had such a weird and fascinating narrative chronology. So just as a quick update, Monster Attack and then Global Defence Force on the PlayStation 2 are essentially Earth Defence Force 1 and 2, and they represent one complete timeline. Earth Defence Force 2017 and then Earth Defence Force 4, which is also sometimes known as 2025, are remakes of the original two games and represent their own timeline. 5 and 6 are yet another set of remakes that again rebuild their own timeline. So the game has 6 entries, 3 sets of 2 games, all just the same story, redone on slightly sharper systems, basically. To make it slightly more complicated as well, the World Brothers kind of like blocky Minecraft-style spin-offs, they tie all of the previous games' parallel universes together in a weird way that is both canon and not canon and whatever else. But all of these games are really fun. I've consistently enjoyed this series. I like it a lot. Playing the first few stages of 5, my main takeaway was this game runs too well and is too polished, which seems a really stupid thing to say because in just about every other game in the world, smooth performance would be a net positive. But EDF is such a curious beast, and in the entries I've played on the PS2, the 360, the Vita, even the PS4, every game I've played, the scale of the world, the scale of the encounters, is always felt exaggerated in a good way and made to feel beefier and weightier by there just being too many things on screen at all times. You know, if my console isn't wheezing and choking as it's trying to render 1,000 ant invaders at the same time as like an errant rocket launcher flies into the distance and smoke trails are clearing the whole screen and there's crumbling skyscrapers that take a nick from your salvo, then it doesn't feel like Earth Defence Force. And I always say it's a very acquired taste. Some people are going to absolutely hate it because for most people, most sane people, a better running game will equal a game that's more fun to play. But for me, so much of what appeals to me in this series has come from the sense of spectacle that it generates in this weird way. The schlocky writing and the voice work is neither here nor there. I've never really cared. I just want every skirmish to reach a point where I physically cannot see what's happening on screen. When that happens, I go, yes, yes, it's a good game. I'm having fun. And that's the real EDF experience for me. It has to fall down to like an absolute kind of single digit frame rate slideshow. And then I'm living my best life. So back to the PS2 I went, or back to PS2 emulation at least. I picked up my save, which is now 25 hours deep, I think, after the time I played recently. I've really endeavoured to beat the outstanding stages to try and do this game properly. If you remember right back to when I talked about this probably a year plus ago, there's 25 stages total. Each one needs to be beaten across 5 difficulties, so 125 levels in total. And when I picked up my save this time, I'd beaten, I think, 95, thereabouts. After a few evenings' work, I'm now up to, I think, 115, so I've got 10 left. And that's just 3 more on the game's second to highest difficulty called Chaos, and 7 more on the game's final tier called Inferno. On Inferno, the game is almost unplayable in every stage. Like what's interesting though is that on the easiest difficulties, it still runs badly, but you don't even need to really aim. Things are going to get killed just by you walking and holding on the fire button. By the end, you need proper strategy. You need to be thinking, where do I need to be on the map to make it so I can get a shot in? How far do I need to be back so I'm not going to be killed by my own weaponry and stuff like that? There's a lot to consider within this mess. And that's quite fun in a strange way. I'm at the stage now where I essentially need to grind for health to make my character better, to even have a chance of beating these last few stages. And it's been really interesting to step back and think of this game and its relation to like the RPG genre in that way. Because in every stage, I'm like collecting weapon pickups and health pickups. Sometimes weapon pickups will grant me new weapons. that means that for a future stage, I might say, oh, this new weapon is going to help me because it gives me more range or more damage or something, or the reload times are better. So it's like you're speccing a character in an RPG. And then the health pickups end up being ongoing kind of, they improve your character indefinitely. It's like a passive thing that increases through the game. So everyone you pick up, it adds to your total tally and your life gets higher and higher and higher, making it easier to take down bigger things as well, as if you've leveled up. It's like your stamina cap on a character in an RPG getting better, replicating the way that works. And it means that sort of grinding part, I've essentially been treating the same way that I know people do with RPGs, like podcast on in the background, maybe having a video on a second screen, something to just kind of entertain me whilst I just farm health on an easier stage.
Yeah.
I've hit a real wall where I don't know how long this grind will be to make the last few levels doable. But in the same way, I quite enjoyed doing that when I was, trying to take down the Elite Four back on Pokemon Red when I was 12. It's weirdly reminiscent of that, where it's like, get there in the end. It's worth doing because, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it properly. I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish the game fully, but I do really want to finish it. And longer term listeners may remember me trying to beat this exact game. First on my backwards compatible PS3 that died, and it took all my progress with it.
Oh, yeah.
Then on a fresh save on my original Steam Deck. Then because I was an idiot who forgot the importance of backing anything up when I moved to the OLED, didn't take my save because I wiped the console. So that went, and I had to start again. So this is my third attempt to beat a game that I've essentially been trying since, I don't know, 2021, 22, probably on and off. And I really want it to be a successful third time lucky because I'm so close to the end. But it could take the same time I've put in again to beat this last 10 stages. So who knows? But yeah, great series. And maybe one day I'll actually play one of the new ones and enjoy 60 frames a second for a laugh.
Nah.
Wouldn't have thought so.
Overrated.
Wouldn't be me.
Play it on the Playdate.
I'd love it.